Okay, hi everyone. I will repeat my kind of biography in English a little bit when I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see? Okay. If you need to say something, just unmute when I finish the slide, and then I cannot really see everybody when I'm using their presentation. So if you just unmute and say something, that's fine. Okay. So I'm here to talk about Arberesh language, religion, and culture. And like Ledio said, I was born in the UK. My family is from Santa Cristina Gela, which is near Palermo in Sicily. And in our language, we call it Sundachstein. Sundachstein is a small Arberesh village of 900 people near Palermo. And at home, my family speak Arberesh and Sicilian. I'm a sociolinguist doing a PhD in the topic of language maintenance in the Sicilian Arberesh community. I'm getting an interruption. Yeah, okay. As far as I know, I'm the only diaspora-based Arberesh community member to have done any work at all really on Arberesh language. And I grew up knowing only 5 families who spoke my language, all in the UK. And all were children and grandchildren of people that came from our village in the 1950s. So growing up, I didn't know anyone that spoke the same language as me, apart from 5 families. If you can imagine. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, cool. So in Italy, there are about 50 Albanian speaking villages. They are all villages. None of them are cities or anything like that. And if you can see on the map, these are the areas where they are spoken. So the population is roughly 100,000. It may be more, it may be double that if we include villages that no longer speak Arberesh. And the regions that is spoken are Sicily, Abruzzo, Puglia, Basilicata, Calabria, Campania, and Molise. And traditionally, the whole community is Byzantine, which is basically Orthodox Christian, but with recognizing the authority of the Vatican, and Roman Catholic. We speak ARBÄRESH. The name of the language is Arberesh. The name of the people is Arberesh. We also speak Italian and the regional Romance languages. So things like Sicilian, Neapolitan, Calabrian, etc. This is a sign when you come into our village. As you can see, it's bilingual. Says welcome to Santa Cristina Gela, and underneath in Italian, and underneath it says Mirse Erdet Sundachstein. And this is the Piana degli Albanesi, which is 3 kilometers away from our village, and it has 7,000 people, and they also speak Arberesh. So a little bit about our history. And feel free to stop anytime you want to ask anything. So during the Middle Ages, Albanians called their country Arbëresh. The boundaries of that changed throughout at different times in history. You can see on the map that in the south it was called Epirus, and in the north it was called Arbanon, which is also Arbëresh. And they refer to themselves as ARBÄRESH. So all Albanians refer to themselves as Arberesh in the Middle Ages. The term Arbëresh was replaced by how we say Shqipëria and Shqiptar in the 16th century. So after the Turkish invasion. Only the Arberesh of Italy and the Arvanites of Greece still use this autonym. Autonym is a term that you use for yourselves. So when we are speaking our own language, we call ourselves Arberesh. Also the Arvanites of Greece. Most Arberesh communities claim descent from South Albania, Epirus, and the Peloponnese. The Peloponnese is in the south of Greece. It's the kind of almost island that's right at the south, which is called Morea in in Arberesh. So if anyone has heard the song Oe Bukura Murea, that's what it's referring to. So in 1448, troops under the command of Demetrio Reres and his two sons, Gjerg and Basil, went from Albania to the Kingdom of Naples. So Italy didn't exist until 1890, if anyone knew that. It was all different kingdoms. So the south was the Kingdom of Naples at this time. Many of the soldiers had requested to be allowed to settle in the area to avoid a struggle against the Ottomans in Albania. And the first Arberesh settlements were near Catanzaro in Calabria. So if you can see in the middle, almost towards the right, that's the Catanzaro area. And now on the road that goes from there to Cosenza, basically all that area is Arberesh villages. You can pass through something like 15 villages without passing a village that speaks the local Italian language. A year later, so in 1449, the sons of Demetrio and George and Basil, along with other Albanians, were settled in 4 villages in Sicily. Do I need to slow down, speed up? Everything okay? Yeah. In 1459, Skanderbeg, does anyone know who Skanderbeg is?
Yes.
Does everyone know? Yeah. Okay, cool. If anyone doesn't know, just tell me. Okay, so Skanderbeg went to what's now Italy with troops ruled by his general Luca Baffa. Baffa is still a common Arberesh name, especially in the region where they were settled. So in some villages, almost half the village is called Baffa because they're all descended from him. And they went there to end a French-supported insurrection against the King of Naples. Skanderbeg was appointed as the leader of the combined Neapolitan Albanian army, and after victories in 2 decisive battles, the Albanian soldiers defended Naples against the French. They were rewarded with land east of Taranto in Apulia, populating 15 other villages. And just to the east of Taranto is you can see like the next village sort of on the yellow road south is called San Marzano di San Giuseppe, and that's quite a big Arberesh speaking village with a liqueur called Borshi. They're from the family Borshi, which is another noble Albanian family. Andrea Reres, a descendant of Demetrio, founded the Basilian monastery in Mezzoiusa in Sicily, which is an Arberesh village and still uses the Greek rite, sort of the Byzantine Orthodox style ritual in church. That's Skanderbeg on that picture in the square of Tirana.
It's very near from where I am.
Okay. Maybe you can look out the window and see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So between 1500 and 1534, the Arberesh from central Greece moved to Italy. So it's not that there was one emigration all in one go. There were several emigrations, all of people who were still called Arberesh. So they moved from central Greece to Italy. So they were basically what we now call Arvanites or Arvanites. They call themselves Arberesh. They had to evacuate the Peloponnese as the Turks had invaded that region. Charles V established troops in Italy to reinforce defense against the threat of Turkish invasion in the south of Italy. So a little bit about our religion, language, and our costume. Religion, language, and costume are the three main marks of Arberesh identity. To be considered Arberesh, a village should have at least one of those 3. So you should either speak the language, be Byzantine, sort of Orthodox, or have the costume. Byzantine Catholicism is the majority religion of the Arberesh, as I mentioned before, and there is a Roman Catholic minority. And the Arberesh language is the most important marker of identity. So some villages have the costume and the religion, but they don't speak the language. And they are kind of considered less Arberesh than villages that have all three. Some also speak Romance languages like Sicilian or Calabrian Neapolitan. So in my village, most people speak both Arberesh and Sicilian as a first language. But in the big village next door, Piana degli Albanesi, they speak Arberesh and Italian. So they are bilingual and we are trilingual. And some villages don't know the local Romance language at all, only speak educated Italian, and at home speak Arberesh. And the Byzantine Church is one of the many Eastern Rite churches that recognize the doctrinal authority of the Vatican, but continues the Orthodox liturgical tradition. So if anyone is familiar with Lebanon, the Maronites in Lebanon are the same sort of thing. They have Orthodox Rite, but they recognize the Vatican. And also in Egypt, there are churches like this as well. The church uses Greek, Arberesh, and Italian in the liturgy. In Santa Cristina Gela, my village, is Roman Catholic since 1902, because a priest called Gaetano Arcoleo, who was not from Arberesh origin, changed the rite to the Roman Catholic one, and now their church uses Italian in the Mass. But outside of that, sings kind of liturgical songs in both Sicilian and Arberesh. And even the Sicilian songs are sung in the Byzantine style. So it's still maintaining Albanian history through that. And this is a video of somebody lighting incense in the house for Easter. And she goes around the house and she sings. And when she finishes, it would be interesting to hear what you guys understood from it and what you notice about it, what language is it in, etc. I have to take my microphone out for you to hear it.
Christos anesti et nexo, thanatos anatom batisa, gentis entis mi, basiso imparisamen. Christum Jahwe, vërtetëm Jahwe, Christum Jahwe, vërtetëm Jahwe, Christum Jahwe, vërtetëm Jahwe, ronë regjiron për gjithmonë.
So I'll stop the presentation for a minute so we can just talk about that quickly.
Krishti u ngjall me të vërtet u ngjall.
Yeah.
But in the beginning she said Christos anesti. So she said the same thing but in Greece, let's say.
In Greek, yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone else notice that was two languages going on? Could you understand the Albanian? No, nobody could understand the Albanian. Okay, so it's Christian.
I understood the Albanian, and at first I thought it's the new Greek language, the modern Greek language at the beginning.
No, it's Byzantine Greek. It's the Orthodox Greek, the Church Greek, and then the Albanian was Christian. So you would not learn to pronounce it like that.
I'm not alone. It's not only me that understood that. I think also the Ilham's friend understood that.
All right. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I'll go back to the screen sharing, and there's going to be another similar video. This is actually my own uncle's wedding.
Il servo di Dio Giorgio riceve come corona di flori la serva di Dio Maria.
Martin, did I heard it wrong, or he didn't say në emër të Atit, të Birit e të Shpirtit të Shenjtë, but në emër të Atit, të Djalit e të Shpirtit të Shenjtë?
Yeah. He said në ember të Atit, të Birit e të Shpirtit të Shenjtë.
Okay, because in a second time, I think I heard Djalit. But then he also said Shërbëtorja e Zotit Maria.
Yeah. Shërbëtorja e Perëndis.
E Perëndis.
Marieja lidhet me shërbëtorin e Perëndis, Gjergjin, në emër të Atit, të Birit e të Shpirtit të Shenjtë. And also Mechtokurora is what something.
Mechtokurora, yes, it's also in Albanian.
So that's liturgical Albanian, and then when they are swapping the crowns, that's sung in Greek. So Kyrie o Theosimon. Yeah. Was it clear to everyone? Did anyone else notice anything? You can unmute.
There are a lot of Albanians here, but the problem is that they grew up in Germany.
Yeah, no, I just was wondering what anyone noticed.
I noticed the Arberesh language because I heard it very often in the internet.
In the internet?
Yeah, in YouTube videos. So.
Okay, nice.
But it's not very different at all from Albanian, indeed. So I had trouble with the sound because it looks like you're in an airport. It has a lot of echo, but yeah, it's not very clear.
Sorry about that.
But no, it's okay. But the words are pretty much like Albanian. So maybe like ember, not emmer, but
exactly.
I mean, an Albanian native can get it right away.
Yeah. Especially, yeah.
Believe me, if you hear they speaking, you will not get everything. Believe me.
Yeah, that might be the case, of course.
You will see in a minute. I don't know if the sound works with my microphone in. I don't think so.
No, I hear you very clear. When the videos show, I think the problem is with the video itself, not with the connection connection troubles. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I meant with the echo. It comes from the video, not that it has echo where you are. No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see this? Okay. Cool. So we're going to talk about the language a bit now. So the Arberesh language, like I mentioned, is called Arberesh. And is descended from 15th century Tosk. And if you look on the right, it's the schema. I forgot the words in English. The banner of our village in the municipio, in the town hall, and it's bilingual. And many words, like you might have noticed in the video, we share with Greek because we came from South Albania. And the Orthodox religion at the time, there wasn't this Western European idea of ethnicity. People referred to their language was Arberesh, and their ethnicity was Greek in the terms of how they described their ethnicity, because it was connected to religion. So we have our word for thank you is the charistis, which is similar to Greek. To charistis,
Mhm.
Evcharisto.
Mm.
To parkales means to pray. We also answer this when someone says to charistis. So this also in Greek, parakalo. The word for battle, amash. We have this sound that doesn't exist in other Albanian varieties. Amash.
Betej,
Sorry?
ndeshje. Betej, ndeshje.
Exactly. And fulaki is prison. This is, I think, in Greek, philaki, something like philaki. I don't speak Greek, so.
But this teharistis. Now I don't speak Greek either, but I don't know if they have an in Greek. Do they?
No, they don't. No.
Okay, so that's this here is a combination between the t, Albanian t, and then haristis comes from Greek, right?
Exactly. So Greek is Evcharisto.
Yeah.
So the O on the end is meaning me, but but ours is is, like fluss. You know, like to speak.
We need to
Fluss.
we need to do the conjunctive form. Cognitive.
Yeah.
To person des.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like this, and we got from harist, and then to you, harist is I thank. Same for parkales, to parkal es. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Exactly. And our grammar is different from most Shqip varieties. So when I say Shqip, that's what we mean by not Arberesh, but Albanian.
Okay.
Because we call our language in Italian Albanese. So in Italian, we're always Albanese, and you are Albanese as well. So Shqip is the only way to kind of differentiate. We don't call our language Shqip. So the continuous tense, if anyone's familiar with that, what in Albanian you say po, and then vete, for example. We say jam e vete. I am going. Literally like English, I am going. You are going, we say je e vete, je vete. So when we say, where are you going? Te ku je vete. Te ku je vete.
Te ku je vete.
Te
Ku po shkon.
Yeah. So shkon for us means something very different, semantically related, but different. Shkon means to pass. So ku po shkon for us, it doesn't have any meaning. But if we replace vete with shkon, te ku je shkon, it would mean, where are you passing? Which is kind of strange.
We say in Gek Albanian, we say kuje kon. For example, kuje kon.
Okay.
Kuje kon means, where were you?
Yeah, it's something else.
So
ku po shkon means,
where are you going?
Po shkon.
Yeah. So in the south, Lab area and Cham, it's very normal to say vete as well. Ku po vete.
Kuje kon bedeutet ku ishe. Ku ishe. Ose nga erdhe.
Ja, aber dieses Wette heißt doch auch, wo du gewesen bist. Wo bist du gewesen, oder nicht?
Ja. It is ku po shkon. Where are you going? Now.
Okay.
Yeah, vete
not
means,
where are you coming from?
Vete means going also in Shqip, but it's more standard, I think.
Okay.
And yeah.
So it doesn't mean going?
Yes.
Okay.
Vete means going in for us.
Okay.
And also in standard Albanian, but also shkon.
Vete unë shkoj, we use them both in Albanian language, but it is a tendency that vete is used more from the Tosk dialect.
Exactly.
Vete.
Exactly. And shkon for us means pass, passare in Italian. So For example, the salt. If you're on the table eating with your family and you say "Shkome kripen," pass me the salt. Shkome kripen.
We say "Majepa kripen."
Yeah, and we say "Viti cheshkoi." The last year, the year that passed.
That makes sense in Albanian as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll move on to the next one. This is from one of the other villages in Sicily. That's the only other one apart from Piana and mine that speak Arberesh. And you can see that it's in Italian, and then ARBÄRESH, we call this. So this is kind of like Arberesh that is copying skip. It's kind of mixed. So you say Klisha instead of Kisha for church. That's the old, all Albanian used to say Klisha. We still use that term. We're not going to analyze it because it's too much. Sorry about repeating the photo. I've kind of touched on it, but Arberesh has a distinctive phonology sound. So we say, for example, the double L and the G, both the double L and the G in standard Albanian for us is R. R. Some people, I think German speakers are familiar with that sound.
Yeah.
A lot of yeah.
Scheisse.
No, R. R. Yeah. It's similar to the French R. Okay. Yeah. And so, for example, our word for donkey, raidor. Raidor. And
Gomar.
Yeah, raidor. And brother is not vla for us. It's roi. Roi. So you in Albanian, other Albanian, they would say vlai as well, or vlau. We say roi, because v followed by r, vr is really difficult. So it's kind of in its evolution swapped around. It's become almost like loi, like it's swapped around in the evolution basically. We don't know if at some point in Albanian history, a history of Albanian language, it was the case that this sound existed in Albanian and doesn't anymore, and we just keep it. We don't know if that's the case, or we don't know if it's come from a Greek influence because it exists in Greek. But in Arberesh, it's very, very strong and doesn't exist in Sicilian. So we are surrounded by languages that don't have this sound, and we have it, and it affects how we borrow the words from those languages as well. So, for example, the Sicilian word for a cave is gruta. We say gruta. So even in our accent, when we speak Italian or Sicilian, we use this as well. It's very common for Arberesh people when speak Italian to say grazie. Grazie instead of grazie. We also have ch. I won't bore people with the voiceless vela fricative and all of this, but it sounds like ch. So we don't say ha for eat, we say cha.
Oh.
One of my first words, basically, because your mum is like ha ha, you know, so it's one of the first words that I learned. And then the other one is this, what we saw it in Amach, and for shadow, sheya.
Here.
Yeah, here. For us, sheya. And when we say with you, metich. Metich.
He said it at the beginning, Shipe. There is a difference because they keep the old name that was used in the Middle Ages. So ARBÄRESH, because the name Shqip, sorry for the interruption, Martin. The name the name Shqip came a little bit later. Okay, spoken, I don't know, but documented, let's say, is from 15th century as a surname of a person, Shqipudari. Professor Bardul Demirai has done a research about this, but it's also used in 18th century. So we can find it in 18th century in the vocabulary of and the grammar of Francesco Maria da Lecce. And the meaning, it's not the eagle, because a lot of people say that the meaning of Shqip, they relate the Shqip with the symbol in our flag, so the eagle. But it's not the meaning, the eagle. So the most accepted meaning is to understand. Shqip means to understand. So I am Shqiptar. I am the person who can understand. That is the meaning of Shqip.
Yeah, Shqiptonia has
I
like
understand.
yeah, well, Shqiptonia has a meaning of like pronounce in Arberesh.
Yeah.
Shqiptonia.
So the immigration of the Arberesh were before.
Yeah,
Yes.
before this,
Judge Fischer wrote this his book.
in 20th century. Yeah,
Who?
George Fischer is in 20th century. So much more later.
Yeah, was this I can't see who's speaking, but was this person come late? Because in the first
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
late. Yes.
Much more
okay,
later.
cool. Yeah, it's
Much more
around
later.
1520 is when we emigrated, and
Okay.
and no Arberesh villages at all have the term Shqiptar or Shqip.
Yeah,
Okay.
a professor of me, she has done an article, and she says that her grandmother said her usually nuk të shqipëllojta, for nuk të kuptova. I didn't understand. Nuk të shqipëllojta, using it as a verb as well.
What is the Arberesh word for eagle?
Akul.
Can you write it down? Can you write it in the chat? The word.
I can after.
Yes.
But it's
Okay.
AKULL.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So if I just carry on, modern Arberesh is not only Albanian. So it's not just, many people say Arberesh is Old Albanian. It's not only Old Albanian, it's come from Old Albanian. So has Shqip. They both evolved from 15th century Albanian. And we have many features that are shared with Italian and Romance languages, like Sicilian, especially in my region. There are many lexical items incorporated from them. So I think that we have, can you still see the screen? I think that we have Italian speakers in the room. Is that right? Can you unmute?
Damiano?
Yes, I speak Italian.
Okay. So if I say piazza, can you guess what it means?
Piazza, oder?
Sorry?
Piazza?
Yeah, square, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Square.
In modern Albanian, or let's say in Shqip, sheshi is the word for square. But for us, that means the flat part of the village, because our villages are on mountain sides, and there's a flat part, plateau in English. That is sheshi. So it's semantically related to the word square, but it doesn't mean square in our village. And that causes some difficulties because now we have standard Albanian signs in our village. And there is one sign, it makes everyone laugh. It's pointing to sheshi, but it's pointing to what we call piazza, the square. But sheshi is a region of the village, which is up on the side of the mountain. So everyone is like, how does that go to sheshi? Can you guess, are you the only Italian speaker in the room?
I don't know if someone else.
Do you know?
Then.
No.
Spricht noch jemand Italienisch von euch?
No, okay, cool. Do you know what's putira?
It's like bottega, a shop, right?
Shop, exactly.
Or they will say dükkan in Albanian.
Exactly. So either side in Albanian we have our Sicilian word, and the other Albanian has Arabic word. So Duchan is an Arabic word. So Dukan in Arabic. Skarpar,
It's a shoe.
shoemaker. Yeah. So what happened was we got the word for shoe from Sicilian. We added the Albanian R, like Kosovar, Shqiptar, Skarpar. It means this. Sindak.
Këpucbërës in
Exactly.
Albanian.
Our word for shoe is kpuca,
Mhm.
but the person that makes it is Skarpar.
Yeah, we have done a composition, këpucbërës,
Yeah, exactly.
a person which makes shoes.
Exactly. Sindak.
It's the mayor.
Exactly.
You see?
Centru.
It's the center.
Chandra.
Exactly. Posta. This is a trick one.
Okay.
What
Then
does
it's not post, I guess.
no? So I don't think you will get it. But posta is our word for bus, because
Oh, yeah.
in no Albanian was there a bus in the 15th century. So there was no buses in the 15th century. So we learnt this concept from being Sicilian, and the first buses in Sicily were the ones that were the vans that brought your post. So we say, Kukjendron posta, where does the bus stop? Kukjendron posta.
But what do you say for post?
Correo.
Yeah,
Postieri, we say postieri, but we also have corrieri.
Exactly. Rampion. Rampion.
Is it like a lampione?
Yeah, lamppost, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you heard that our phonology is so strong it affects our Sicilian words as well. Something that began with LA in Sicilian, our ancestors, when they first learnt this word, they heard it as this dark L that you have in other Albanian varieties. And for us, that is pronounced R, like roi for brother. So rampion. Lampadin.
Is this from Italian or from Greek?
This is from Sicilian.
From Sicilian, okay.
Lampadin.
Is it a small lamp, right?
It's a light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, in Sicilian, lampadina, but the d became the, which doesn't exist in Sicilian. So even when me know, because I didn't grow up there, but my grandparents especially, when they speak Italian, they say the. So in Sicily, you say, he told me, it's like mi dissi, but they say mi dissi because this is the Arberesh accent in Italian. They don't say de, they say the, because this only exists in Albanian, not in Sicilian or Italian. And then the last one, radio.
It's the radio.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, our Romance verbs are conjugated, the grammar, in specific ways. So to traducir means I translate. We can also say shkonia litisht, for example. Pass it to Italian, shkonia litisht. But traducir. And so we say, I o traducir, ti traducir, I or io traducir. So it's all the same. Much like in Albanian, it's d. I know, you know, he knows. D. But then once we get to the plural, we, you, plural, and they, it's conjugating. So na traducirem, you traducirni, a to traducire. And it's the same like the word for to have fun, diventar, not diventar, divertir. Diventar is to become something else. So it's exactly the same. We say divertirium, divertirni, like this. Spudiaru, another one of my first words, because my mum always saying it to me, hurry up. Spudiaru. Spudiar comes from spirigiar, spirigiari in Sicilian. And then Cel a radio.
Happy radio.
Hapera, yeah.
Cele, another word for hap.
Yeah.
Ndez.
Exactly. And then we don't say radio is a Sicilian word for us. So when it's modern, very, very modern Sicilian word, we don't, we add a or u, meaning the in Sicilian at the beginning. So other words is not like that. Other words, you know how Albanian has suffixes for the, dial, diali, visa, we have that. But for some words, we don't have that. For some words, we use Sicilian definite, u and a. So then, venite u centro. Venite u centro. Let's go to the center. And mos sfutires. Don't make fun. Sfottere in Italian. Don't make fun. Sfutire is they are making fun. And then when we say mos, we add it with the future suffix for you. So, which is sh. I don't know if you've covered this. Yeah. Mos futires. Okay, so I have to take my microphone out. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. But basically the next slide is showing in our everyday conversations, normal conversations, what aspects of the conversation are Albanian, which are Italian, and which are Sicilian. If you see it's underlined, it means it got adapted into our grammar and our phonology. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this.
Questa menat kisha professori di religione.
Jo, ata dhe lesami, që të janë.
Professor di l'esame kam scienza esterno, kam scienze umane e filosofia e inglese.
Was that clear? So this is very linguistic, what we call glossing, but somenat kisha professorin della regione. Yo, and then my uncle, this is my uncle speaking, and my cousin. Yo, atadi lesam ciletian. Professori di lesam e cam scienze esterno, cam scienza umana, a filosofia e inglese. So there's scienze umane. It's in South Italy, this only exists in Neapolitan and Arberesh. No other surrounding Romance language just have this sound. Sicilian is always open, everything's open. This doesn't exist. Scienza umana is somebody speaking, using a Sicilian or an Italian word and making it sound Albanian. And this is how everyone speaks. You know? And then religioni has to have e, not e. You know, and then the lesam, not the lesam. And there's another example.
Solitamente hanno le spalliere, hanno pizza, hanno curva u veramente nanninga vetta.
So she's talking about the gym. I asked her what's in the gym, and she said nani, not tani, nge, not nuk, and then pizet is coming from Sicilian pc, which means weights, and then you add the ut because that's Albanian plural, but then spaliere for her is a more modern term. So, because in the old times they used weights for food and like to cook food and things like this, and for agriculture and all this. So weights is not a modern term. So that's more Albanian for us, borrowed from Sicilian. But spaliere is Italian. So she says le spalliere because she's incorporating into our way of speaking. And that's how most people speak. Another example?
Ed collaborarti meneve tishkurayim storientativi kurleo fina kurvdik megis le battaglie chburiaye.
This has something very interesting in it. Di kurleo fina kurvdik. So I don't know how you say that in other.
Që kur lindi deri kur vdiq.
Exactly, yes. Deri, I know that word. We have niera as well. Niera means fina, but fine a in Italian, it's like
Fina.
Yeah, I don't know this. I think it's like because my Italian is not native. So, I think it's di quando è nato fine a quando è morto. Maybe. So this is what you call in linguistics calking. It means copy the structure. Sorry?
Sorry, I thought the mic was off.
Yeah, so this is called calking, which is copying the structure of another language, and is very, very common when you have a minority language surrounded by a dominant language, which has a typical structure. So does anyone know how to say I love you in Albanian?
Të dua.
Të dua. And in Italian?
Ti amo.
Or the other one?
Quiero.
No.
Quiero is Spanish, I think. Te quiero.
Yeah, no, but it's the same structure because ti voglio bene. Ti voglio bene. Voglio means dua. Bene. So guess what we say? Can you guess what we say?
Të dua bene?
No.
Të voglio mirë? Të voglio shumë?
Make it all Albanian.
Shumë të voglio.
No. So ti voglio bene. How do we say it? We are copying the structure of Italian.
Të doi.
Të dua.
Të dua.
So ti voglio bene.
Të dua mirë.
Të dua mirë.
Dua mirë.
Të dua mirë.
That would mean I want you to be good. I want you to be healthy in a sense.
Yeah, we say
in Albanian.
we say that të dua të mirën. I want you to be good.
Right. We have that concept, but it's të dua me shëndet. Të dua me shëndet, which we say when we are leaving people. We go, we say ciao, të dua me shëndet. But të dua for us means I want you. So in Albania, they say to their mom and their grandmother and their granddads, të dua. We hear people, because there are immigrants from Albania in our village, we hear them saying të dua to their mom and we're like, wow, these people. We say të dua mirë, të dua mirë. So that's another example of exactly from like di corleo fino a cosdecchia. It's exactly the same. And then at the top you see collaborarti meneve. Is also
bashkëpunon.
Yeah, collaborarti. Okay, and this is an example of a guy from my village speaking to an Albanian. I had to edit it because it's quite long, but he's talking about cannoli. Does anyone know what cannoli is?
Cannoli is this. It's a little bit like a pancake, right? Filled with different stuff.
Yeah, it's round and it's deep fried and it has ricotta and cream and fruit in it. And it's really famous from Sicily. If you go to Sicily and you say, where can I find the best cannoli? They will say Piana degli Albanesi. If you go, if you go to my village, we have the best cannoli.
Yeah. Italian ricotta is very similar with what we say cheese.
Cheese. We call it cheese.
Yeah, the same.
So hopefully you'll be able to hear how he's speaking.
Allora, tu kemi disa të që na akuzarim të bujmë një kanal. Tu kemi Vetë, kemi cukarin, huzarim edhe ma një luk krip të bujëm kanorin, shkorqën, pram kemi berin e kuqe. Kjo shkorqa, risultato finale të gjithë subi se qëllë në kartën, ashtu kemi gizën. Kjo si ne bje pekurare, pastore, e kjo invece risultato finale, risultato finale di giza me zucchero, që na shukbej, me vjen si una crema. Të giza na vëmbi një gjilin qukuratin, pram më mblojmë kanorin. Me 150 gram më mbuj një kanor, më të më mbuj një djetë. Na një kasosim kanorin. Kemi gizën me qukuratin, pram kemi la decorazione, quindi si sosim na kanorin. Kemi këshqit, kemi zuccherin, kemi narënzat. Quindi vumë një narënz kanjanë, këshqit kajetranë, pram kemi pistacchio, o pastuka, arbërish, pastuka. Kanori sos, të vullim ljurqish, dekoracion të vullim, narënzat, këshqit si sam, pastuka. Në një, vumë një tajurë, kanorin e pujarim tu, atë dekoratim më mirë, marim ca cukar si një mente. Ashtu kanori sos, në një më kafet.
Did that work okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the share. The next slides are about the costume. Does anybody really want to see that? Or should we talk about the language? Because we can stop and talk more about the language, or I can carry on to show you the costume.
I want to see the costume.
Okay, yeah, cool, that's fine. Okay, if anybody minds, we can stay a bit later. It's fine by me. It's up to you guys. So as you saw earlier, Arberesh people in the Byzantine rite marry in the traditional costume, which is called Girona metrikurore. Girona metrikurore. Girona means, sorry, Girona means dress, like a gown. And metrikurore has 3 crowns on it, basically. The dress is made of silk and gold and has a solid gold belt of St. George, who is the patron saint of Albania, not just Albanians. He's
the village where I come from is Skanderbeg, so yeah. St. George.
Yeah, a Muslim village called
a Muslim village with a Catholic name.
Exactly. The belt has been passed down generation after generation by families of noble descent. So many of our founders were nobility, soldiers and nobility. So my ancestor is Muzaka, from the Muzaka family. So our belt is passed down from them, is how old it is. A variant of, and actually I can run and pick up the picture of my mum wearing it. Yeah, okay, because I'm at the end of the day Italian and the mum has to be present. Okay, one sec. Can you see this?
Yes.
So there's the belt. There you go. So a variant of the costume is called Nsilona and is worn in Easter. In older times, another non-colourful costume was worn on a daily basis. I have pictures of that as well, but it's can't find it now. The costume is a fundamental feature of Arberesh culture. If a village has lost the religion and language, but still has the costume, they are considered Arberesh. But once all 3 are lost, they are no longer Arberesh. So there are villages that used to have it and they lost it because they didn't keep the tradition. This is the part of it, which I don't remember the name of. Keza. This is called Keza.
Brez.
No, Brez is the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in Arberesh, Brez means generation.
Yes, also in Albanian.
Okay. We say because we pass the belt down generation to generation to
Yes.
generation. So literally we are saying our belt and then the next belt and the next belt. That's an example of the Easter costume. The one on the right for the woman is for Prymtia e Madhe. Does anyone know what Prymtia e Madhe means?
Is it like Good Friday?
Exactly. Good Friday. Prymtia e Madhe. And Java e Madhe?
That is the Easter week, I suppose.
Easter week, yeah. Java e Madhe. And you can see on the left, on both examples, actually, there is the belt. That's solid gold belt. So on Good Friday, they wear the black jacket because Jesus died on that day. So you wear black. And on the left is for the rest of Java Madhe. And when someone gets married, it's similar, but it has like a sleeve, a red sleeve with green kurore, the things that you see on the head, which is called keza, but they have them down the side. And there's a red little crown and a white veil that goes all the way to the floor. And everybody wears that. So if you have a grandmother or a great grandmother who inherited it from her mother, you wear it for your wedding. If you see someone wearing white, it's because from their mother's side, they were originally Sicilian and they didn't have the dress. So everyone that has it, it means that their mother's mother all the way back was Albanian. In some cases, a family will adopt it. So my mother's mother was Sicilian from another village. But when she married, back then, there was prejudice against Arberesh people from Sicilians. So her family stopped talking to her, but she got the dress from her husband. So my great-great-grandfather's family, she got his mother's dress. So now my cousins, around my generation, they also wear that dress. Can anyone guess how much that dress costs to repair? Because it needs repairing after generations. Can anyone guess how much that dress cost just to repair? Wild guess.
In the thousands.
Yeah, how many?
2,000-3,000.
So
30,000 euros.
No way.
30,000 euros. That's how much that dress cost to repair.
It's gold.
and
Yeah.
how frequent do you have to repair it?
About every generation, every 2 generations.
That means 100, 200 years.
Sorry?
That means 100 or 200 years.
No, I mean like so the one that my cousin got married in a few years ago, it was last time repaired when my grandmother got married.
Okay.
So when I say generation, I mean I am one generation, my parents are another, my grandparents are the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's 30, 40
Lucky that generation that doesn't need to repair.
Yeah. So there are people that make them as well, and it's very, very expensive.
That would be millions for.
No, I mean, people do make them, but generally it's not made from scratch. It's less good quality, really. It's generally passed down and repaired, and people look after them, and they don't come out. It comes out for your wedding or Easter. It doesn't come out of the box or wherever they keep it. And it's a ritual as well. Everybody comes around and they dress the nusia, the bride. All of her family come and they put the different items on her and everything.
Is there cases where it can't get repaired anymore?
Yeah.
Because it's been repaired. Yeah, it's been repaired too much.
Yeah, there are cases like this. So in my village, they found people from the 18th century buried under the church in a crypt. So that means they were nobility, and they are muzaka, of course. And they were all buried in the costume. So not the one for the wedding, but kind of different, the everyday one, but with still got decoration on it. And in the old times, the women used to wear a big veil that's covered their whole head. And there are photos of that on the internet. If you type Piana degli Albanesi into Google, you can see images of that.
But does everyone respect it, or is it something like that? I mean, if you do it, it's good, but not necessarily.
You mean if you marry?
I mean the costume. Like, do you have to wear them during Easter or in the wedding or whenever? Like, what do you do if somebody doesn't wear them?
Everyone loves it.
So I think that from this question, I have to ask: is there very important to keep the traditions?
Yes. The costume, the language, and the religion are the three markers of being Arberesh. So normally, everyone is born into a family that is Byzantine or Roman Catholic. You speak the language and you have the costume. If you don't have the costume, nobody thinks that you are not Arberesh, but then you have to have either the language or the religion. If you have just the costume, but not the language or the religion, then you are still Arberesh. So the costume is really important as well. And this wearing the white is a Western European tradition that is associated with Roman Catholics. So in Roman Catholic churches, Arberesh people wear a white wedding dress. Red is the Albanian color. And you see that in Albania, they have kind of revived it a little bit, the wearing the red for the night before the wedding. I think they've evolved an Islamic tradition for the henna night, Kanajej. And now they wear red on the Kanajeji. But it's because red is the Albanian wedding color originally. And this dress is from the noble families as well. So it doesn't mean that we are royalty. Don't get me wrong. Once upon a time, yeah, we were.
So-called Principata.
Yeah, exactly. But now it doesn't mean everyone in our village is royalty. It means that we've inherited from our ancestors who they were at one point before the Turkish invasion.
Yeah, I also said to Martin that, for example, if you read Kënga e Sprasme e Balës, Gavril Dara, the toponyms used there, so the names of the places that he wrote on the book, on the poem, let's say, you can still find nowadays people speaking those toponyms on the same way. So Gavril Dara was from Shëngjërgji, so it is my village, a village of Tirana, and if you go in Shëngjërgj, you can still find some of those toponyms that he used there on the book.
Yeah, exactly. And we have toponyms as well for our mountains around us. So the mountain that surrounds one of the mountains is called Pitsuta, and the other one is Kumeta, spelled with a K. We named the mountain Kumeta, Comet.
Comet.
Yeah. And we have Saravuli. Saravuli is another mountain. We don't have even the local, what we call, this is interesting. So who am I talking about if I say Leti people? Leti. I'll type it.
Latin?
Yeah, so who am I talking about if I say Leti people also call it the Albanian word?
Italian people?
Well, who said that? I didn't see who said it. Ah, okay. Yeah, so yes, but we are also Italian. So who are the Leti people?
Maybe the Sicilians only?
The people who speak Sicilian only.
Mm.
So in the villages around us, which speak only Sicilian, they are to us called Leti. So Leti people, so the Roman Catholic rite is called the Leti, Riti Leti. Does that make sense? And the people who come into our village to sell fruits and vegetables are normally from the other villages. As a kind of like socio-economic relationship with them. And so anyone that sells fruit and vegetables is also called Leti. And their language, Letisht. So in my village, Flasem, Arberesh, Midema Letisht. Te chora Arberesh Piana degli Albanesi, Nga Flasen Letisht. Flasen Italiano e Arberesh. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we don't have a sense of our identity that isn't Italian, isn't Sicilian. We are Italians, we are Sicilians with an Albanian origin. So we don't call them Italians. We call them Leti because they speak Latin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they also don't call themselves Italian or
I can't see you.
The Sicilian people don't call themselves it.
No, they call Siciliani. But yeah, of course. Yeah, but we are also Siciliani, so Sicilian. So
yes.
So to distinguish between them and us, we are Arberesh and they are Liti. And they call us Gegyu. Gegyu.
Okay.
Because when we say listen to me, Gegyemua. Gegyemua.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they hear us, Geg, yeah. They hear us saying this, so they call us Gegyu.
Okay.
But in the North Albania, before they also used to use the word judge. That means also to listen, to hear.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
My grandma would always say, "I'm judge." "I'm judge" means do you hear me?
Exactly. And our word for understand, drungon. I just typed it. Drungon, which comes from Albanian drgjon, which means to make conscious.
No, comes from Durjeja.
Durjej, yeah.
Durjeja, conscience.
Conscience, to make conscience. To make conscious, yeah.
Ai e conscient, ai e ndërgjegjshëm për çfarë po them.
Exactly. So when we say, did you understand me? Më drëngove. Më drëngove.
But do you understand an Albanian when he's speaking?
Let's try.
No, I had to come to this point.
Po pyesja shqiptarët e kupton kur flasin apo ke vështirësi?
U drëngon. Ma një skaj difficili për mua përçë një jam akosumuar.
Okay, s'pak e vështirë, okay. Po ke më shumë vështirësi me ato të veriut apo me ato të jugut? Ato të veriut besoj se ata e kanë çik më të përzime gjuhën.
This was difficult, so you spoke very fast.
Un po flas kastile pak shpejt. Që ta shikoj a e kupton ajo.
U drëngova përçë kam studiar një skaj shqipen. Ma për mua kjo një gluha ime. Diferenti di shumë, jo di pak.
Okej, e kuptoj.
Differenti di shumë, jo di pak. Me drëngove?
Po. Të ndrëngova. Po.
Bravo.
I also want to make a question. So I have also discussed with Martin before, but I want also that he says something here for the others. So what do you think? Because in the tradition of Albanian studies, especially on the tradition of Albanian scholars, they think that Arberesh is a dialect of Albanian language. But as I know, you think that it's a language, another language. So can you tell something about this?
Va bene. Glucha Shqipe moderne, një dialekt të gluhës Arbereshe. Ma ëftet për që gluha një kish emrin Shqip më para, kish emrin Arbërisht. Na kontinuarim të flasim Arbërisht. Ju keni ndruar emrin e gluhës. Na jo. Quindi, basicamente, Shqip è një dialekt të gluhës Arbereshe. But, na flas si sociolinguista, një sistir dialekt e gluha. Janë të gjithë linguistic practices. I have a language practice called Arberesh. You have a language practice called Shqip. We can call them Albanian language practices. No one is a dialect of another one. But if you are like using the word dialect means a variety of a language that came from another language. Shqip came from Arberesh, not Arberesh from Shqip.
I have one question.
Yeah.
But my English is not so good, so maybe I can say it in Albanian or in...
Yeah, 1 second. Banje minut. Does everyone understand when I'm speaking? Because I'm speaking very, very slowly on purpose.
Yeah. Your English is very understandable.
No, but also in Arberesh.
Yeah.
I understood.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I say it in Albanian, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Kam menduar që Arbërishtja vjen nga një Zakman König, nga një mbret i lirë I cili kishte pas emrin Arbër ose Arben. Arben.
Por Arben edhe Arbër janë paraq, janë njësoj. So I think you asked me if Arberesh come from the name Arbër or Arben.
Yes, because we have many kings, so
exactly.
Yeah, and the language, when we have another king before the Arben king, maybe it called another name, or was it also
no.
Arben?
But he was called that because N and R are interchangeable in Albanian varieties. Some places it's R, some places it's N. Like Lumtur.
Yeah, I know, but we have many kings. So before we have the Arben king, we have another king. So what? The language the.
Drëngova ma ai kish emrin Arben për që ish një arbër. It's like he was called Albanon. Like,
aber wenn ne kemi pas edhe mbretër më parë se më herët se
Okay, I think maybe someone can help if maybe we need some German.
She said that we have had
a king who
earlier.
Was called Arben.
Yes, but before this king Arben, we had another king and another king and another king. So the language is called Arben because the Arberesh because Arben, King Arben.
No.
But
no. He was. This is why I tried to explain. He was called Arben because it's like an ethnonym, means arbor.
Yeah.
We are the arbor people.
And Shipe, sorry, you are not spelling it correct. You are saying Arben. Arben is a normally name in nowadays in Albania. It's Arbën.
Arbor. Okay, Arbor. Yeah, yeah. But who was the king before Arbor? And how does it call the? It's called also Arberesh when we have another king.
Yeah, but we are not called this after him. He is called after the people.
Okay, so the language is called what? Okay, Arberesh. Ik heb me toe gjithmonë.
Yes.
Okay, do të thonë edhe nëse ka pas një mbret më herët që ka pas një emër tjetër, është quajtur Arberesh.
She says that even
I understand.
Okay, good.
But
good. That was my question.
Yeah, no, but he is named Arben because he's named after the people. Is not.
Okay.
It's not the people are named after the king.
Okay. Siç ka çuna edhe goca në Kosovë që quhen Saranda, Berati, ata e kanë emrin nga Berati, nga Saranda.
Po pyetja ime ke si u quhet gjuha para
Arberesh.
Para mbretit Arbër, për shembull na kemi edhe mbretin Bardhyl ose nuk e di. Ka shumë mbreta.
Po ideja është që gjuha i ka vendi Arbërisht, Arbri ka marrë emrin nga Arbërishtja, jo Arbërishtja nga Arbri. E kupton?
Arbria was a kingdom in the Middle Ages that changed to become known as Shqipëria in the 16th century after the Turkish invasion. So before that time, everybody in Albania was speaking Arberesh after the place Arbria, and the name Arbër was a common name for people from that region. Arbër.
I suggest for anyone which is interested, especially for the later names Shqiptar, Shqipëri, to read the book Shqiptar dhe Shqa from Professor Bardhyl Demirai. He has done a very good explanation of this endonym, as he says, for Shqiptar. Endonym.
Eugena had hand up before, I think.
Okay, Eugena.
Oh, I just wanted to explain earlier to Shipe. Oh, sorry, I froze.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone have any more questions or anything?
Yeah, I have a question. The song, or do you have some?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, okay. I have two questions. One question is, can you say something about the sentence that our Bresh people say always? It's Jemi gjaki shprishur. And the second question, the second question is about the song Moje bukura more. Text.
He mentioned it a little bit before.
Yeah, what do you want to ask about it?
Yeah, the part when they say lule lule matze matze. What does matze matze mean?
That's another song. So lule lule matche matche is a typical song. It means flowers and flowers and cats and cats.
Okay, it's like in Albanian.
Yeah, but
language.
But it's matche.
Matche, okay.
And oe bukura moreja.
Yeah, I know this. I just want to ask about the matze.
Yeah, Morea is the Peloponnese.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other question was
about
Gjaki shprishur.
Gjaku jeni shprishur. It means our blood is spread out across Italy, across the Albanian speaking regions. Shprishur. Also,
or
I don't know Sprenda.
Verteilt. Sprenda is verteilt.
It's spread out, so it's basically the same.
Okay. Also, the sheet that you put on the table is Sprishur.
It's very interesting because I misunderstood. Well, if someone didn't explain wouldn't explain it to me, I would misunderstand it. In Albanian, prish, I prishur, means it's destroyed, it's spoiled. It's,
no.
Yeah. But it's prishur. Do me thonë jo e prishur, por e ndrequr. Prishur, do me thonë jo prishur, por shprishur.
No, we don't use shprishur nowadays in Albania for something that it's not. Yeah.
So sprish in Italian means disseminare.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
Disseminate, spread out, disseminare.
Yeah.
So we have you can find this on Google.
Okay.
By Gaetano Gerbino. Yeah. So in there you can find all of these old words like sprishur, which we still use.
Any other question from the others? Is anyone curious to know more?
I have a question. What would happen if you would marry someone who's not Arberesh? Would your parents still be talking to you or not?
If I would marry someone who's not Arberesh?
Yes.
Yes, that was the question.
So my grandmother is not Arberesh, and my great grandmother was not, and my grandfather's father was not. It's all our history. We've been marrying Liti people.
Okay, and do you guys have the costumes at home, or how does that work? Oh, do you still have that?
I mean, on every side of our family, on my family especially, there are people who are, on my mum's side, there are people who are Liti in every generation. I have great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, not great-great-grandfather, etc., etc. I even have a great-great-great-great-grandfather from North Italy. So
Eugenia?
One sec, because I will just quickly explain how it works in our culture. Ethnicity is a very Western concept. We don't have this concept. We have, if you have the costume, the language, or the religion. So I know people who none of their great-grandparents came from an Arberesh village. They came from other villages. In my village, there is a big lake, Lago di Piana degli Albanesi, that was made in 1910 to become a reservoir with a dam. And, you know, a dam to keep the water back. Lots of people came to our village during that time to build it because it was a work opportunity. Many of those people stayed in our village. So I know people who all of their great-grandparents were Liti, but because they settled in our village, they start speaking our language, become quickly socialized into our language. So now, 2 generations later, their great-grandchildren are Arberesh. There's no question. There's not, you don't sit there and say, oh, my great-grandparents were from another village, so I'm not Arberesh. They are Arberesh because they speak our language. So speaking the language means you're Arberesh. If you don't speak it anymore and you don't have the costume and you are not from the religion, then you are not Arberesh. Simple. That's how it works.
Okay.
And now Eugenia had a question.
Eugenia had a question.
Since we were on the topic of marriage, I wanted to ask, if you were to marry someone who's not Arberesh, would she get the costume for the wedding, for example, from your family or something like that? Or would you
in my case, yes.
It's very subjective.
Yeah, I mean, normally when you see a wedding in our village or in the big village, when someone is not wearing the dress, it means they are probably from another village, or their grandmother or their mother was from another village, so they don't have the dress. But in some cases, like I said, my great-grandmother, she used the dress of her mother-in-law. So then my grandmother used it as well, and so did my mum. So if I got married to a non-Arberesh, she could choose. I would like, do you want to wear this? Do you want to wear this? And we will see. But it's possible. In many cases, it happens.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
More questions?
I have a question. I always have the impression when I'm in South Italy that the official signs in Arberesh villages are in standard Albanian and not in Arberesh. Is this wrong?
No, it's true. It's a problem. Do you remember me talking about Sheshi?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is problematic because a lot of the time people don't understand what the sign says. Like Bashkia, Bashk for us means together. So Bashkia is not a word that we use, but we would understand that it means something to do with being together. So when you see
Bashkia,
when you see Bashkia, you're like, what are they telling us? So if you don't know that means municipio, then you're confused. Why does it say Bashkia Chores, like the together of the village? You know, like, but when it's local names, so Corleone, the village is like the next one is about 10 kilometers away. That's called Coriuni in our language, Coriuni, and it's spelled, like I'll type it quickly. It's spelled Coriuni on the sign, Coriuni. And then San Giuseppe Jato is the next village in another direction. And we call it Murtilat. And it's spelt on the sign Murtilat. But for example, when you saw Mirsena Erde, Sundachstein, that's not Arberesh. That we say Mirsena Yerdet. I'll spell it.
Mirsena Yerdet.
Mirsena Yerdet. And they spell it Mirse Erdet. So the question of a standard Albanian in Italy, our communities are protected linguistically, but they call it Albanian. So Albanian, standard Albanian, is the protected language.
It's what you are learning in the schools.
Exactly.
May I ask something?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be protected linguistically?
It means that you can teach it in school. You're allowed to teach in school. You're allowed to use documents. You're allowed linguistic landscape. So street signs, these kinds of, and you have the right to use your language.
For example, if you study the linguistic landscape of Tirana, it's very interesting. So you can see tables and sign in English. I have also seen something in Arabian. In our legally, it should be only Albanian legally. In our legislation, every sign should be Albanian, but it's not like this.
Exactly. We also have this where the standard Albanian word for car park is parking, an English word, parking. And so we see on the signs in our village, parcheggio, parking. and it's like parcheggio, you mean like parcheggio, was parking. That's the English word. But because it's standard Albanian, so it's there. And then the only time that they don't insist on it is for the word for church, klisha. All the signs say klisha.
Kisha.
But they write klisha. Yeah.
Yeah. If it should be written if it should be protected, it should be protected on the way that the language is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my argument. We should have our language maintained and protected as it is.
Yeah.
Not try to purify it, because then you end up with a community that moved from the Turkish invasion 500 years ago, having the sign Duchan for the shop, which is like fine. I mean, in Albania, that's fine because they have Turkish borrowings. We don't. So it's fine. In Albania, you say Duchan and we say Putiga.
Ah,
yeah.
French.
Sorry?
French.
French.
Or not, boutique.
Ah, well, in Italian, it's bottega.
It's the same.
Bottega.
Let's see Latin. Let's see Latin better.
Latin. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Questions? More questions?
We say in Albania, Duchan.
Yeah.
For example.
Exactly. It's a Turkish. It's an Arabic word borrowed through.
Ilham could know it.
Yeah.
Duchan.
Dukan. Yeah.
Or Muhammad.
Do you understand
Maybe.
the word shitora?
So shit.
Yeah.
Means.
Okay.
Shit. It means sell it. Shit.
Yes.
Sell it.
Yes.
Shesium.
Yes.
We sell shesium.
Yes.
Yeah. My grandmother used to say a lot, "Yo, shit, shit." And when I was little, I used to say a lot at school because I grew up here. So I used to say a lot at school, shit, shit. And the teacher said, "Why are you swearing?" "I'm not swearing, I'm speaking my language." But then if you're talking about these words, I mean, we have our words for family are all Albanian words. Whereas in standard Albanian, most of the words for, half of the words for family are Turkish words. Shared all the way to Pakistan and India. We have the words which are really only Albanian words. So like motor murmur. Motor murmur.
Is it just one word?
Yeah, motor murmur.
Is it the sister or is it the mother?
No, because because there are etymological Indo-European studies that says that the word motor comes from the word nun, mommy.
Yeah.
So the mommy, nona, the other way. So the word motor and nun basically are the same word. That's the idea of Indo-Europeanists. So, and everyone says that because traditionally in Albanian, the biggest sister has also played the role of the mother, then the mother and the motor are the same. So it's the same Indo-European word as it is in Sanskrit matar, as it is in English mother, as it is in German Mutter. In Albanian is motor.
Yeah.
It's from the same,
But motor means sister.
Yeah. The meaning is different.
Yeah, motor means sister for us as well, but motor murmur is not sister and it's not mother. Motor murmur is
aunt. It's an aunt.
Aunt. Yes.
Aunt. Yeah.
Mother's sister. Motor murmur. Motor murmurs. So
spectacular.
Yeah. So what do you say in standard Albanian?
It depends if it's the father's or mother's side.
Mother.
The word for aunt depends if it's from the mother's or the father's side.
Exactly. So motor murmur is teze.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Turkish word, teze. And then mortata. Tata is dad. Mortata.
The sister of the dad.
The sister of the dad. Hala is a Persian word.
Not my surname, huh?
Yeah.
Hala.
Hala is a Persian word. So interestingly, in standard
borrowed
Albanian,
from Turkish.
Yeah.
From
borrowed
us.
From Turkish. Yeah.
And what is uncle in Arberesh?
So Vovi.
Vovi,
if it's the older man.
Okay.
If it's the husband of your aunt, it's Lal Buker. Lal is older brother. Lala, older brother. So the oldest brother in every generation is called Lala.
Okay.
So Vov and Vova.
We use it nowadays as a kind of. We use it nowadays, Lala, as a kind of grandfather. Sorry. So Lala, Lala, the grandfather, which is the oldest person, but also it is now in let's say slang language nowadays used. Chabone Lale.
Yeah. So who is Tatmadi? Tatmadi.
Grandfather from your mom's side?
From your dad's side.
Oh, okay.
Grandfather from your mum's side is Mani. Tatmadi, Mani. And then Mumuma, your mum's mum. Matata, your dad's mum.
Yeah, and you make the difference. We don't make the difference.
Yeah, and then
we have only Jushi.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have to say that are the parents of my father or the parents of my mother.
Exactly. And then non-rat is Jushrat in standard Albanian. Non-rat, non is a general grandparent. Nonna, nonni. Nonna exists also in Italian, but also in Albanian is nonna.
Nonna. Nana in North, nonna.
So we have the distinction, nonna, nonni, because E is what? Masculine in Albanian. Nonna, nonni. Then non-rat. Exactly. And then Kushirin. Zönder and Nusia have a different meaning as well. Zönder and Nusia mean boyfriend and girlfriend. Shock and Shokya means husband and wife.
Yeah, it makes sense. For example, we use also in Albanian Ishochi, Eshochia for the wife and the husband.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean friend.
What do you say for real Nusa Thunder?
What do you mean real?
Sorry. For what we refer to Nusa Thunder.
Thundri is your boyfriend.
Yeah, but okay, But how do you say?
He told when there is a couple, they say shoki, the shokia.
Yeah, but
you mean when you get married in the wedding? When you get married?
Exactly. Yeah, because when you say
it's the same.
This is after the wedding. So
it's the same.
On the day where you get married.
Yeah, no. When vemite klisha, me thundrin, me nusen. Because in Italian, because in South Italian culture, you don't have a boyfriend, you have a fiance. You are single, then you get engaged, then you get married. It's not boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, it was when the language was evolving, you know. So you don't go from being single to being married. You go from being single to being engaged to being married. So when you are in the wedding, you are Dhönder and Nuse. But then as soon as they put the crowns and you finish all of this, Shurbese Kurores, it's called, marriage. Then you are Shokya.
Shokya.
Which comes from Latin associate. Socios.
In Albania, there's a word to say Ishochya, to not differ between them. We use bashkshort. I don't know if you've heard of bashkshort. Can you guess what it means? Bashkshort?
Short, I don't understand.
It's very interesting.
Living together?
No. Bashk is together. Short in this context is kind of a chance or it's
more destined.
In English
to share the destiny together.
In English is the draw. When do you watch soccer? Before the European, they usually have a draw.
Sorte, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. sorte in Italian.
But I'm very curious to know something about what do you use for the words related to bedroom in Arberesh?
Cambra.
No, words like pillows and mattress and this thing. Now, why I'm asking, because in Albanian, these words come all from Turkish. Now, I mean, you can guess why, but
we have, well, because they invented them.
Ah, what do you?
Everybody used to sit on the floor.
Yeah, but what do you say? What do you say, for instance, for çarşaf? Do you know what çarşaf is?
No.
Çarşaf is a sheet.
Oh, yeah, we don't. We use Italian words for it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Exactly.
Invent them, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions from the
But you know
others?
why? But you know why? One sec. Because the Turkish invented the idea of reclining on top of something, lying down on something. It was like the Ottomans did it. Even in English, that thing that it's like a little bench in your house is called an ottoman. They invented beds.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't have our own words for these things. Yeah.
Is there a dictionary with Arberesh?
Yeah, he just showed it.
Okay, it's Albanian and Arberesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's Arberesh and Italian.
Okay, I can speak Italian, so I cannot speak. But Arberesh in Albanian would be good, or not?
Yes, well, I would like to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking in there now if there is a specific word for sheet that I don't know of. And no, there isn't. We strati, I know this word, strati.
Yeah, of course.
Bed. But there isn't. Oh, when we say lie down, it's ngulem. So everyone is laughing because it has a very.
Then sorry, when you wake up, then what do you say? Shkulem?
No.
because
yeah, no. Ungrita,
okay.
Yeah, but my cousins went to do a diploma in Albanian in Pristina, my cousin and his girlfriend. And then the professor said in front of everyone, should we go for a drink or something? And they went, yo, yemen veten gulemi. We're gonna go and lie down.
Yeah, but it sounds very bad.
Yeah, in Albanian has a erotic.
Yeah. It's not only erotic, but it's a very bad way to say it. Like
yeah. So they learned the difference then. Yeah. Someone had a question. I think someone had a question.
I didn't have a question, but I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Before, when you said when the grandparents and the parents are Latin, Italian, Sicilian, but the kids start learning Arberesh because they grew up in that village.
Yeah.
You consider them Arberesh. I just wanted to say I like that mindset and that way of thinking, because that way, since Arberesh is a really old language, same as Albanian and Shqip, you lose a language often by being stuck on these generations and keeping this generation and traditions. But when children that are not of that bloodline or generation and they learn the language and they also grow up with the mindset, because the language comes with a mindset, I always say.
Yeah.
So I like that idea that you said you consider them Arberesh, because I think that's the best way of keeping especially very old languages that we know.
And not only we consider them Arberesh, but we don't even think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up knowing the best friend of my cousin from the next village, Piana, Fatima. Her parents are from Morocco. Fatima is Arberesh. I've never spoken to her even in Italian. It's never, like it's impossible. And I will show you a picture of one second. Sorry. These two are ARBÄRESH.
Oh.
I saw this picture on the internet somewhere.
Yeah. So that child, his father came to the village from Ghana or Senegal, and his son is born in the village, well, in Palermo. Nobody is very often born in the village anymore. And he's from there, and his father, who is an immigrant, speaks ARBÄRESH because he learned it. And there are Chinese people as well. Like everywhere, there is a Chinese shop somewhere.
Yeah, of course. Chinese people are also in Albanian from generations, and they know to speak very well Albanian.
Exactly. And another thing that happens, it's more important that your mother is ARBÄRESH than your father. So if your father was ARBÄRESH and married a non-ARBÄRESH woman, more likely your children will not speak ARBÄRESH because they are at home with their mum. There's a reason we call madrelingua, the mother tongue, because you learn from your mum. So in Albania, this patriarchal way of thinking is the other way around. The man makes the baby, puts the baby in the woman. And so if he's Albanian, the baby is Albanian. But it's not like that in ARBÄRESH culture. The mother creates the identity of the child.
Very
interesting.
Yeah.
Usually the mother raises the children, that's why.
Yeah, because
there's a few things we really have to like copy from the ARBÄRESH that we have that are just like not out to date, but it's just a better way of thinking sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, ARBÄRESH people are not like perfect in this way. We have patriarchy. But in terms of identity, it's not patriarchal. And I have cousins who their father was not ARBÄRESH, their grandfather was not ARBÄRESH. And then she's married someone who's not ARBÄRESH, and her children speak ARBÄRESH, and they are ARBÄRESH. So it's the mum, because the mums and the mum and the mum and the mum. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Sosim.
Yeah, Sosim. We have to finish now. Okay,
if you
it
want
was
to...
very, very, very interesting, and thank you for being here with us today, and we really appreciate. And it was really interesting. I also learned a lot of new things.
Thank you very much. I wrote my email.
Yeah.
You can give it to them as well. Anyone that wants to contact.
Yeah. You have the email in chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Shehemi. Bye.
Shehemi.
Mosgia.